This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Happy October, girls, ghouls, and ghosts. It's officially the season of the witch. Or should I say, the season of the rich. Squid Game, or Ojingo Game, has emerged as the most popular show on Netflix, and it comments on the vice-like grip that money and the wealthy have on our lives. With stunning cinematography, tight writing, and apt cultural commentary, it's not surprising to see why it has become a huge hit. Squid Game follows the trend of stories such as Battle Royale, The Hunger Games, The Platform, As the Gods Will, and Alice in Borderland, all of which set up deadly games with high stakes. It follows in the footsteps of the South Korean film Parasite, as both are rife with stare motifs and class commentary, and it has elements of Black Mirror in its present-day dystopian vibe. It may come as a surprise that a non-English, non-Western show has topped the Netflix charts, but the world has seen a growing amount of attention paid to South Korean media. South Korea has long been producing quality cinema, from Kim Ki-young's 1960 film The Housemaid to the films of Park Chan-wook. And of course, Bong Joon-ho's 2019 film Parasite made history, sweeping the 2020 award season. It was the first South Korean film to garner Oscar recognition and was the first non-English language film to win Best Picture. There's also been a surge in popularity in K-dramas over the last few years, with Netflix housing an extensive collection. It seems more and more people are overcoming what Bong Joon-ho called the one-inch tall barrier of subtitles and giving non-Western media the attention and praise it deserves. Squid Game follows a group of 456 people as they enter a deadly tournament to win 45.6 billion won, which converts into around 39 million US dollars, 33 million euro, or 27 million pounds. The contestants of Squid Game play seemingly innocent children's games, but with lethal consequences. Hwang Dong-hyuk, the creator and director of the show, started developing the script in 2008. He took inspiration from the Japanese manga Battle Royale, Liar Game, and Gambling Apocalypse Kaiji. The result of this is a thrilling show steeped in cultural commentary. From the characters to the costuming, Hwang doesn't miss an opportunity to examine the class gap. Squid Game illustrates the complete lack of privacy and constant surveillance that's present in our culture. Like the characters in the show, we may feel like we're constantly being watched, that nothing we do is truly private. That's why VPNs like Surfshark, the sponsor of today's video, are so valuable. Surfshark allows you to browse the internet safely and securely, encrypting your information to keep it safe from big corporations and hackers. I've used a few different VPNs over the years, but Surfshark is by far my favorite. As well as desktop and mobile apps, there's a Chrome extension that makes changing your location while browsing easy and seamless. While researching this video, I wanted to watch the Japanese film Battle Royale. It's not on Irish Netflix, but Surfshark gave me access to American Netflix, where Battle Royale was available. Surfshark has servers in 65 countries, expanding your Netflix catalog to include thousands more titles. Surfshark kindly provided me with a promo code that gives you 3 months free and 83% off. So if you're interested in watching a film or maybe a K-drama that's not available in your location, use my promo code and click the link in the description to download Surfshark. The cast of characters is the driving force behind this show and allows for an exploration of varying themes. The show concentrates on a handful of characters, many of whom are disenfranchised and desperate for money. The contestants include Song Gi-hoon, a gambling addict and struggling father who is severely in debt to loan sharks, To Sang-go, an acquaintance of Song Gi-hoon, who is wanted for fraud and embezzlement, Kang Se-byuk, a North Korean defector who's trying to reunite with her family across the border, Abdul Ali, a Pakistani immigrant who is trying to provide for his family while his employer refuses to pay him, a gangster named Jang Duk-soo, a mysterious unhinged woman named Han Min-yo, and Oh Il-nam, an elderly man with a brain tumor who proves to be more than meets the eye. Side note, the name Il-nam combines the Korean Il, meaning one, and Nam, meaning man, so his name translates to number one man, which fits considering he is contestant number one, as well as the man pulling the strings. The relative simplicity of the games allows both Hwang and the audience to concentrate on the characters. The show is an examination of humanity and class. The players are quick to object to the atrocities and deaths that occur before they see the amount of money at stake. Even after being given an out, many people return to take a chance at winning the cash prize, which results in a quick devolution into violence and angry mobs. The show is expertly acted and each character feels like a person. None of them feel one-dimensional. Even with dramatic twists and turns, the show doesn't fall into melodrama or tropes. The show pushes people past their breaking point, showing the ugliest parts of humanity, and the characters struggle to maintain some sense of morality. Among the characters, there's a police officer, Hwang Jun-ho, who infiltrates the game as a guard in an attempt to find his missing brother. This provides an insight into the lives of the guards and how they're not as powerful as they may appear. The costuming strips everyone of their individuality. Their names are taken away from them and they are addressed as numbers. This is true not only of the contestants but the guards too. Hwang Jung-ho masquerades as a guard and he's able to get away with this because the guards are assigned a number, a bunk, and a job to do. Like the players, the guards are watched every second of the day. They can't forge personal relationships with one another and they are reduced to cogs in a machine. This is quite obviously a representation of the way capitalism strips people of their individuality and exploits them for their labor. The guards aren't evil, power-hungry people. They're most likely not far off the contestants in their need for money. They are as expendable as the players in the eyes of the frontman, who shoots a worker when he finds out he gave hints about the next challenges, jeopardizing their mantra of equality. In the end, though all humanity seems to be lost, there is some hope and redemption. Kihoon is initially traumatized. Though he's newly rich, he's lost things money can't replace and haunted by memories of the games. But upon returning to his neighborhood, he's met by Sango's mother. She gives him fish for his mother and refuses to take any money. Despite struggling financially and not knowing the fate of her own son, she continues to care for Kihoon. A year later, Kihoon tracks Se-byuk's brother down and rehomes him to live with Sango's mother. He gives a chunk of his winnings to her, and the series ends on an optimistic note. Writer-director Hwang said that he aimed to provide a hopeful ending. Even when it feels like there's only despair, fear, and sorrow left for those participating in the game, there's always those who don't give up their humanity. I want to convey hope. We've seen many narratives that pit lower and middle class people against each other for the entertainment of the wealthy. But unlike the stories that revolve around people battling to the death in artificial arenas, Squid Game is not set up in a future dystopia, but in a present reality. This reality is ruled by capitalism, inequality, and debt. South Korea has the highest level and growth of household debt in the world. The show, despite being centered on South Korean characters and concerns, speaks to the state of the world. The popularity shows that it strikes a chord in viewers no matter their cultural background. Hwang has stated that the show aimed to comment on capitalism. He's quoted as saying, "I wanted to write a story that was an allegory or a fable about modern capitalist society, something that depicts an extreme competition, somewhat like the extreme competition of life, but I wanted it to use the kind of characters we've all met in real life." Each character has their own reason for entering Squid Game, but all of them revolve around money. It's made clear to us in the first episode that Kihoon is struggling financially. He is beaten by loan sharks and resorts to a claw machine to win his daughter's birthday present. Faced with the threat of losing his daughter when her stepfather moves her to America and losing his mother to diabetes, Kihoon is desperate for money. The leader of the Squid Game preys on this desperation, luring Kihoon and others like him into a series of deadly contests. The contestants are pitted against each other, motivated by the increase in money they earn each time a player is eliminated. This is not unlike how capitalism pits workers against each other, constantly in competition with each other to earn bonuses, raises, or even just maintain their position. This brutality and desperation is pitted against the VIPs, old, mostly white men who take pleasure in watching the poor battle to survive. While the men sip on whiskey in a lavish chamber, they prop their legs up on people dressed in animal costumes that act as human furniture. The people around them are expendable objects to these wealthy characters. Il-nam, the brain behind the games, states that the extreme poor and the ultra-wealthy are essentially the same, miserable and bored. This is the reasoning behind Squid Game, to give the uber-wealthy, bored despite their hoards of wealth, a slice of entertainment. But Il-nam's mentality completely ignores the reality of living in poverty and the hardships that come with it. It echoes the tone-deaf and empty actions of the rich and famous in our own world. The Kardashians, for example, could afford to rent a private island for Kim's birthday, while hundreds of thousands of people were dying alone in hospitals or putting their lives at risk in low-paying jobs during a global pandemic. The players have more agency than the characters of Hunger Games or Battle Royale. They are given a way out. If the majority voted to end the game, it would end. But the vote was public, and the frontman teased the players with exorbitant cash prizes before they voted. This is similar to the scare tactics used by corporations like Amazon that stamp out revolution or rebellion to keep their workers tied to their job. Amazon held weekly captive audience meetings that workers were required to attend in Bessemer, Alabama, before a vote to unionize. They put up flyers in the bathroom, sent texts and emails, and held these ongoing meetings all to dissuade workers from joining a union. And it worked. In this article, an employee who voted against joining the union said, "Amazon is just a game with rules. Learn the rules, play the game, move up, win." This vocabulary is eerily echoed in the dialogue of Squid Game, as the frontman states that everyone must play by the rules in order to win. The frontman may act like everyone has an equal chance at winning, but this equality is an illusion. This is visible in the Stepping Stone Challenge, in which players must discern whether a glass panel is tempered glass or normal and risk falling to their death. When a man who worked in a glass factory for years is able to see the difference between the two, the frontman turns off the lights, eliminating their advantage. The leader, under a veil of equal opportunities, continues to act as a puppet master, controlling the fates of all 456 players. His mantra of fairness isn't based in any true desire for equality, but making his VIPs, his donors or shareholders, if you will, happy. The class commentary present in the show's writing is developed in its visual style. The title Squid Game is taken from a Korean children's game that was popular in the 1970s and 80s. Hwang translates this innocent child's play into bright sets of circuses and playgrounds that perversely contrast the life or death situations that the adults find themselves in. The set design is truly impressive. From looking at behind-the-scenes footage, it's clear that little CGI was used to create this world. In an age where CGI seems to dominate a lot of cinema, it's refreshing to see sets like these. The candy-coated labyrinth of staircases functions on two levels. Like the doll and children's games that are twisted into lethal tools, the bright color palette hides something darker underneath. It was inspired by a print by M.C. Escher called Relativity. In the show, the stairs represent social rank and attempts at social mobility by the guards and players. The themes of vertical mobility is all over the set design of this show. As the players enter games, they descend, their fates in the hands of those above them. And every time they win, they reclimb the staircase, one step closer to winning. They are also placed on top of each other in bunk beds, and Junho has to climb ladders in order to infiltrate the island. When Sang-ho and Kihoon have their final game, the VIPs are positioned above them, watching from afar. The frontman stands on a glass floor with a tile allocated to each player, again looking down on those poorer than him. Through all of these artistic decisions, Hwang literalizes the vast upper class and lower middle class divide. The show's play with color goes beyond the pastel stairs. Red and blue are central to the story. When Kihoon is approached initially by a Squid Game worker, he is challenged to a game of dakji for money. He picks the blue card. There's a theory that originated from Lucy.Wat1 on TikTok that those who pick the blue card end up as players and the reds end up as guards. This is because red and blue uniforms separate the workers from the players. Okay, I know the uniforms are kind of green and pink, but you get the idea. However, there's also a connotation of red pill, blue pill from the Matrix. This was brought to my attention by this TikTok from Faye.val. The show references the Matrix explicitly in the dialogue and visually with the tug-of-war game, and given this, the blue pill, which represents ignorance in the Matrix, could indicate a passivity, as those in the blue are puppets in the games. The red pill represents enlightenment and power, so those in the red have slightly more power and are not forced to risk their lives in deadly games. The shapes on their masks also represent buttons on a PlayStation controller, further underscoring the ideas of games and control. Red comes to symbolize power in the show. By the end, once Kihoon has chosen to move forward with his life, he dyes his hair red. He has a newfound agency and motivation. He is able to provide for his daughter, and he embarks on a quest to find the rulers of Squid Game. As of now, there are no plans for Season 2, but let's all pray that no bored billionaires take it upon themselves to start some Squid Games of their own. Thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you in my next one.